Do you want to build your strength? Do you want to feel like you are strong throughout your daily life? Like you can do the things you want to do without being held back by your body? There's a simple acronym that we want to lay out for you today to help you do just that. We're going to cue our introduction and we're going to dive right into this conversation. Hey, welcome back, exercisers, to the Exercise is Health podcast, brought to you by Exercise for Life Studios, where we believe that your health is your most valuable asset, and the single best thing that you can do to both boost and protect this asset is exercise. Specifically, exercise is geared towards building the health and function of your muscles. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and today we are exploring this idea of how to get strong. Now, a lot of people have this desire to feel strong, to feel capable, to feel their bodies functioning and being used in the ways that they want throughout their life. But how they're going about exercising is not allowing them to get those results. So today we want to lay out a simple plan for you to help you get strong. But before we do, we have an ask for you.
did you know there's one super simple thing that you can do to greatly help us out and to help us continue to get amazing interviews on this podcast? And that is to pause the podcast right now and give us a rating and review. It really helps us show up higher in the rankings. It helps more people find our content, and it helps us score more and more great guests. So if you wouldn't mind, pause this now and go to Apple Podcasts. Leave us that rating and review. It helps us more than you can imagine.
Julie, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How many people have you talked to this year that are like, you know what, Julie, I just feel like I'm too strong. I actually want to get weaker.
Zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually,
right?
I don't think I've ever talked to anyone like that.
I know, it's not just this year. I'd say it's like, for as long as I've been talking to people, nobody's like, yeah, I just feel like I'm too strong. I'm just too capable. I really got to tone that down a bit. I really got to kind of dampen my abilities. No, most people, especially from an exercise perspective, they're looking to improve. They are looking to build, or they're at least looking to hold on to what they have for as long as they can. And one of those biggest things that people are looking to hold on to or build upon is their strength. But how a lot of people are going about doing it is actually not setting them up to get stronger. So today we want to lay out a simple plan that you can start to implement to help you get strong. And we're breaking it down into an acronym using S.T.R.O.N.G as the acronym that we're going to be following today.
I know. I love that. Literally, the word strong is the principles you need to follow. And they're so simple. And when you apply these in your workouts or in like when you're thinking about your fitness, it's really going to help you strategize your exercise so that you are biasing towards building strength. And this is, again, so important because strength really isn't about being buff, looking buff, going to competitions and all the stuff that some people like feel like they're not interested in. It's more about living your life. It's getting invited on the ski trip and feeling like, yeah, my body could do that. Or, having your grandkids and babysitting them and feel like, yeah, I could get on the ground and do that. Or whatever your, ideal of being active in your life is, your strength is the vehicle that gets you there. So let's jump in. So the first letter is S, and that is going to represent strength training 3 times a week. So 3 times a week, not just exercise, but you need to be strength training, building your muscle 3 times a week. So that is going to look like structured, slow resistance training.
Absolutely. Utilizing the 4 Exercise for Life principles that we discuss throughout this podcast and our content. Julie, I feel like, this is the first bullet point, and in some ways, you feel like, this should kind of go without saying, like, hey, if you want to get stronger, like you need to strength train, or if you want to maintain your strength, you need to strength train. But so many people don't realize just how big of an impact this will have and how crucial this is to actually maintaining their strength and maintaining their function, maintaining their capabilities. And the second part that you brought up, which is, almost the thing that makes the whole thing, is you have to be doing it at least 3 times a week. Once a week is not enough. Twice a week is not enough. And look, if you're over the age of 35, your body is telling you, yeah, you know what? We can just keep getting weaker for, the rest of forever. Like, that's okay. So you need to actively combat that. You need to actively fight that. Strength training really is the number one way to go about doing that. And we recommend doing it a minimum of 3 times a week. So that's the S for you. The T with this S.T.R.O.N.G acronym is tension. Okay. And when we say tension, what we mean is when you are going and doing your strength training, you need to focus on generating tension with your muscles, contracting your muscles, squeezing your muscles. That needs to be the primary emphasis of the strength training that you're doing, not getting the weight up and down, not doing the reps, not, keeping up with the class or, following the workout to a T or anything like that, but really focus on squeezing your muscles, generating that tension with your muscles. That will do so much. If you just follow those first two things, that will do so much as far as building your strength. Obviously, we have a whole other thing, a whole bunch of other stuff you can follow, but really those two things, strength training, a minimum of 3 times a week, and when you do it, focus on generating that tension, squeezing your muscles. That will be a game changer for you.
Now, the next one, which is R, is going to stand for range of motion. This one, really listen up, especially if you experience like muscle pain or joint pain, discomfort, nerve pain, discomfort, any kind of like icky feelings when you're strength training. And this one's so huge for a certain population because a lot of people use their joint pain, their fasciitis, their tendonitis, or whatever they have going on, their bulging discs, as the reason that they don't strength train and the reason that they don't strength train certain areas. So this one is going to be really key for you if you fall in that category. It is going to be range of motion. And the thing you need to know about range of motion is you need to do your full range of motion that is symptom free. Not the general overarching full range of motion as far as you can go, because more full is more better. It is actually the idea that your full range of motion is going to be defined by the day on how you're feeling. Okay, so if one day you do a squat and you feel great, awesome. That's your full range of motion that day. The next day you do a squat and halfway down your knee feels funky, great. You're going to stop before your funkiness comes up, right? So once you've determined, oh, my knee's a little funky today, once you find that spot, you're going to now do half squats, avoiding that symptom, right? So every single day, every single exercise, your range of motion is going to be dependent on how your body feels. So the R is going to be range of motion and making sure that it's your full symptom-free range of motion.
Yeah, understanding this is the difference between going to work out and being like, well, squats hurt me. Like I don't lift weights because squats hurt me, and going and working out and lifting weights and being like, okay, how I did the squat did not feel good for my body. And so I need to change how I'm doing it. This is really a key piece to that. And because if you prescribe to the idea of, well, I need to use as much range of motion as I can, I need to keep pushing to try to, get deeper into my squat, to get lower on my push-ups, to drop all the way down on my lunges, everything like that. Or even if you're not thinking all the way, but you're just thinking, well, I need to move enough with it. Like just there's some magical amount that now all of a sudden makes the exercise worth it, then you're more than likely going to fall into this mindset of, well, I can't do that exercise because that exercise hurt me, or that hurts when I do that exercise, as if like you need to do that magical amount in order for the exercise to count, in order for the exercise to qualify as, something worth doing. So understanding this, that yes, you are going to be using your full range of motion, but specifically your full symptom-free range of motion. Again, that's the difference between going and working out and doing exercise and feeling like, well, that exercise, as if it's a thing, hurt me, versus how I did that exercise didn't feel good for my body. And now I need to change how I'm going about doing that exercise. So if you can switch your mindset to thinking, okay, well, if something's not feeling right, I need to change how I'm doing it. Now all of a sudden the whole world opens up as far as like what you are able to do and how you can go about challenging your muscles and strengthening your body. So that's the R. So we have S for strength training. We have T for tension. We have R for range of motion. O is for optimize, okay? And optimize, we're talking about muscle activation techniques, MAT, okay? We're talking about helping to get your muscles firing on all cylinders. Look, why this is such a big thing is because, yes, we want to make sure that you are building your strength from a traditional exercise standpoint, but we also want to make sure that you are not overworking certain areas of your body. And a lot of times what happens is as we go throughout our life, our muscles some of our muscles start to not work as well, whether they get more fatigued or we have, a little bit of a tweak or an injury or something like that, and our body starts to compensate around those. Well, you do that for a week or a month, it's kind of like whatever. You do that for a year, 2 years, a decade or more, and now all of a sudden that becomes a big issue. So in order to make sure that you can build your strength in a way that isn't going to leave you feeling lousy, that you feel like, okay, I'm fully functional throughout my life, making sure that your muscles are optimized using MAT, getting your muscles working the way they're supposed to work and firing on all cylinders, this is a really big thing. We recommend, if you're just starting out, if you can commit to once a week, that is a great place to start. And then as your system gets functioning better, as your system gets more optimized, you might go down to twice a month or once a month, okay? If you're really, everything is dialed in and your workouts are super appropriate for your body. But understand that, while there might be a little bit more time and effort on your part up front, it will pay dividends down the road for years to come by just spending a little bit of time and effort getting things optimized and tuned up right now with that MAT process.
That's right. MAT is probably the best tool that we have seen and we use all the time to really help people build strength around their stuff, right? Everyone over the age of 30 has a thing, and probably under the age of 32, where it's either a diagnosed thing where it's I have bulging discs or I have this going on. But we all know that being strong, no matter what stuff you have going on, no matter what joint ailment you have going on, you're going to be better. And MAT really just fines tune that strength almost to the point sometimes where you're like, do I even really have that thing going on anymore? Because we're really teaching the muscle system not to compensate around it, but actually start including that area and bringing it back to normal function. So optimize for sure, get scheduled with your MAT practitioner. The next one is N, for no pain or soreness during or after. So we talked a little bit about pain in the range of motion because we were saying symptom-free range of motion. Hurts? Don't do it. That's your body telling you not to do it. But if you're feeling any kind of other pain or issues while you're exercising, it's probably a sign that your body is saying don't do it. So we recommend don't do it if it's hurting. Aside from I'm just kind of getting an area warmed up. Sometimes in our warm-up, our bodies start talking to us, mostly because it's do we really want to exercise? We'd rather lay on the couch. But once you get past that point, keep checking in and staying in any area that is symptom-free. And the second part of that, where I said no pain or soreness, is then after a workout, checking in with your body and making sure you're not sore. So soreness after a workout is very common, but not normal. It is so common that we actually applaud it sometimes, saying yeah, I did some work. Of course I'm sore. But actually, if you are working your body, respecting your range of motion, and really focusing on the muscle tension, it is so much less likely that you will be sore, because soreness is actually not a sign that you've done enough. It's a sign that you've done too much. And so if you are sore, you want to use that as a learning opportunity that you probably didn't respect your range of motion, number one. That's the biggest cause of soreness that we see. And then number two is going to be maybe you used a little bit too much weight. A lot of people always jump to the weight one, but it's actually more likely that you're going to get sore from violating your own range of motion. So making sure you're dialing that in for the next time that you exercise.
And what's really cool is when you follow the principles of this acronym that we've laid out so far, especially the T, the R, and the O of, really focusing on squeezing your muscles with that tension, respecting your symptom-free range of motion, and then making sure that your muscles get optimized with MAT. A lot of times what you'll find is when you go to exercise, you'll be swapping out that pain and that soreness for an increased awareness, an increased feeling of leaving your workouts more connected to your body. A lot of times we use this idea of, I'm so connected with my body, and it's just in the worlds of yoga and Pilates and stuff. But this applies to every single workout that you do, whether it is strength training, whether it is, a cardio workout, you're doing riding your cycle bike or going for a run or whatever, just feeling like you can connect to your body on different levels. And so when you are doing your strength training and you're really focused on squeezing your muscles, you shouldn't be leaving that workout feeling like, oh my gosh, these muscles are just thrashed now. You should leave that workout feeling more connected to the exact areas of your body that you just did the exercises for. And then that way, the workout that you did today is actually setting you up to come back and work out again the next day, because you're not feeling like you need to spend, in 24 hours or more recovering from the workout. You're not feeling like you need to take 2 or 3 days off from the gym, just to kind of get back to your baseline. You use the workout that you did today as actually setting you up to come back and work out again the next day. And now all of a sudden you have a system in place where not only will you feel good during and after your workouts, but your workouts will actually be something that you can keep doing day after day for decades to come. And that's really how you get and are able to keep these results long term. So that's the N, no pain or soreness during or after. G stands for grow. And what we mean by grow is go into your workouts with the intention of changing your body, of challenging yourself. We're not talking necessarily about like bulking up, but you have to expand where you are right now. You have to be able to expand your capacity. You have to be able to expand the person that you are right now if you're actually wanting to get stronger. Okay, this doesn't mean doing anything extreme, but what it does mean is you're not going into your workouts and saying, okay, well, what did I do last time? And let me just try to, stay right where I am and just kind of meet that standard of where I was before. Because if where you were before was strong enough, then you're not looking to get stronger, right? And so you know that you need to expand where you are right now. You need to grow in some ways. And so understanding that, going into your workouts with the mindset of I'm using this to challenge myself, and understand that inherent in challenge is a layer of difficulty. And that's okay. Is a layer of kind of feeling uncomfortable, feeling like uncertain, like, oh my gosh, like, is this really, am I going in the right direction? And then you continue to challenge yourself. Okay, yeah, like I am going in the right direction, but it's still a little bit uncomfortable. And that's okay. That discomfort, we're not talking about pain. We're not talking about soreness. We're talking about kind of like the mental, emotional discomfort of like, oh, do I really want to challenge myself today? You follow all the other principles that we talked about, staying consistent with your strength training, a minimum of 3 times a week, you focusing on contracting your muscles, really generating that tension, respecting your range of motion, getting your system optimized and making sure you're not feeling any pain or soreness during or after your workouts. That challenge that you'll experience during your workouts, it will be much easier to invite that into your life on a regular basis, because you'll be like, okay, yeah, this is pushing me in the direction that I want to go.
Awesome. So use these 6 principles to apply to your fitness routine so that you can stop just doing something or doing anything or doing something that's better than nothing, but really strategizing your time in the gym to really be productive for your life. Because remember, this isn't about becoming Mr. or Mrs. Olympia. This isn't about getting into the bodybuilding competition. This is about having like the insurance policy or the investment account for your active lifestyle for years and years to come. Because if you're listening to this, it's very likely that you are not just accepting the norm of I'm just going to get weaker, I'm going to get less active, maybe I'm approaching retirement and all my plans are out the window. You are here because you're ready to build your body. You are trying to really increase the strength of your body. So use this acronym to apply to your overall fitness ideas so that you are really strategizing to build muscle and build strength as you exercise.
Now, each of these principles is what we implement within all the workouts in the Exercise for Life membership. So if you're wanting guidance from me and Julie, you can access it right from home, right from your phone, any device that you have. We're going through the workouts with you in real time, and they're built for people that have issues with their muscles, that have issues with their joints, whether it's feeling tight, feeling achy, or some borderline joint pain that's going on, and you're not sure how to get stronger, how to build your strength, working around these things. We teach you exactly how to do that in every single one of our workouts within the Exercise for Life membership. So all you have to do to get started is go to www.exerciseforlifestudios.com/membership. You can join us as a monthly member. You can join us as a premium member. You'll get access to all the workouts, whichever level you choose, but they are all designed, again, to help you build your strength, build your health, build your function right from home, even if you are experiencing those muscle issues, those joint issues that hold so many people back and make them feel like, gosh, I just don't know. Maybe it's just all downhill from here. You don't have to feel that way anymore. We teach you exactly what you need to do within this membership. So who do you know that needs to hear this episode? Who do you know that is wanting to get stronger in their life, but they might not feel like they're doing the right things? They feel like, I'm just not making the progress, or, maybe it is just all downhill from here. Share this episode with them so they can understand this 6-part acronym of a simple plan to get strong within their life, and they can start implementing it on a consistent basis. And while you're online, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It helps people find our podcast when they're looking for information on exercise and when they're looking for information on health. So if you found value in this conversation today, let us know by leaving us a 5-star rating and review. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk with you all next week. This podcast is for information purposes only. The statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Julie and Charlie Gates, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements or advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical issue, consult a licensed physician.